Last 3 years, I've analyzed over 100 different sales funnels, making anywhere between $10,000 a month to $3 million a month. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys exactly how you can get an 85% show up rate and a 40% close rate for your sales operation, and the 10 lessons that I've learned along the way. Now, I want you guys to stick with me for 5 minutes because sales is a lot about principles. And I believe that within the first 5 minutes, you'll be able to get and understand 90% of the whole video and have these key components to be able to implement in your own coaching business. And if you're a coach, consultant, or course seller that wants me to implement this for your exact business, there's a link below where you can apply to book a call with me. So the first lesson that I have learned over this period of time is, number one, that is everything. It is not a matter of maybe. It's 100%. Speed is 100% everything. Speed to lead, how quick you guys actually hop on a call, how quick you actually close these guys, because info isn't where it used to be like a year or 2 years ago, where you could just have a lead sitting in the pipeline for a few hours and nothing's going to happen to him. But the thing is that there's so many competitors out there that when someone opts into your free training or your VSL, you're not the only one that they've just seen. They're probably taking a look at someone else that they may like a little bit more. And if they hop on a call with that other person who happens to be within their budget, they're going to go ahead and close with them, right? So you have to be very, very quick. When the lead comes in, you have to have your setters contact every single one of them within 5 minutes of them opting in. If it's not within 5 minutes, you're losing money. The biggest personal brands that I've analyzed over the last 3 years are able to do it. And if they're able to do it, why can't you do it? The second thing is closer and setter pay. Now, I'm going to give you guys the minimum and then the high end. As a setter, the lowest you could pay a setter is typically going to be around 3%. On average, it's going to be 5%. And then on the high end, if it's a very, very good setter that you do not want to lose, highest is 7%. Now, when it comes to a closer, on the low end, what you could give him is 8%. And then on the high end, what you could give a closer is 12.5%. But on average, it's typically going to be around 10%. Lesson number 3, a setter is much more important than a closer. The thing you guys have to understand is that closing and hopping on sales calls is very, very straightforward. You hop on, you figure out where the prospect is, where do they want to go, and why have they not yet gotten there, and then you just connect the dots and eventually they buy. That's as simple as closing is. But setting is a whole lot of a bigger process. You have to understand the pain point that they have in a short period of time. You have to qualify the leads. You have to be able to disqualify the lead. You have to be able to build up enough emotions on a short setting call that's 3 to 5 minutes long for them to actually showing up on the call. You have to make sure that they actually do show up on the call. You have to remind them. Setting is a much bigger task. And the thing with setting is that you can't really set while being on multiple offers, right? If you have a setter that you just hired onto your team and you actually want them to be setting on full capacity, you have to have them on that sole offer, because the thing with setting is that there's always an extra step you can take. Maybe the SOP is just contacting leads during the morning and that's it. But if the setter is only working on your offer, he could contact them now 2 or 3 times, right? Instead of him having a speed to lead of, an hour, if he was on multiple offers, his speed to lead could be 5 minutes. Right. And that could be the deciding factor of whether or not they close with your offer or they close with a different offer. So lesson number 3 is a setter is a lot more important than a closer. If you have to fire someone, fire the closer first, because you can always close the deal as the offer owner. Lesson number 4, if you sell anything more than $2,000, you need a sales call. There's obviously a trust recession, as everyone knows. People aren't buying info as they used to, and you are going to have to handle a lot of objections, scammer objection, thinking about it, objection, partner objections. Should they be going with your objection, shopping around objections? There's so many objections that you're going to have to handle, especially if you're charging a ticket price above $2,000. So if you are charging above $2,000, make sure you have a sales call. Number 5, Go High Level is the best CRM. If you don't have a CRM, which is CRM stands for customer relationship management, then you're missing out on a lot of money. What a CRM allows you to do, it allows you to follow up with every single lead, to know exactly when to follow up, when a lead actually comes in, when a lead needs to get reminded, when a new lead got an email, when a lead is cold, when he's warm, when he's hopped on a call before, when he has not hopped on a call before, when he's gotten this email versus this email. It allows you to track your customer relationship management, see exactly where your lead is so you can target it and actually sell at the right time. Lesson number 6 is sales only accounts for 20% of your issues when it comes to info product. One thing a lot of people are going to try to tell you is that if you're not making money as you're closing, it's your sales process, right? Your sales process is messed up. But the reality, from what I've found after analyzing over 1,000 different info products, right? Anywhere between 5,000 to $3 to $5 million a month, is that 20% of your issue is going to be sales, 60% of your issue is going to be marketing and just getting more leads, and then the other 20% is going to be an actual offer and what you're actually providing people. Now, the reason why I say sales is so low is because it's not rocket science to close someone. Like, I could teach a teenager how to close a deal, right? You figure out, what does the person want? Why do they want it? Why have they yet gotten it before, to figure out if there's any limiting beliefs? And then you tell them this is how much it's going to cost. And if they have money, they buy it. And if they have money but don't want to buy, you figure out what that limiting beliefs is. And then you handle that objection. But if they don't have money and they do want to buy, then it's a payment option, right? Sales is very straightforward. Marketing is a lot more complex. And if you have yet to watch my previous video on studying 1,000 hours of marketing, go ahead and watch that. And if you're a coach, consultant, or course seller that wants me to implement all of these systems into your coaching business, click that first link below and you'll be able to book a call. All right, so let's go to lesson number, it should be number 7, is pre-call material will shoot your close rate up 20%. If you don't have pre-call material in 2026, you're losing money straight up. Now, what should you put in the pre-call material? I'll give you guys a brief overview of it before we talk about it a little bit more in depth. But your pre-call material, essentially what it sounds like, it's material before the call. Now, you want your pre-call material to do 3 things. You want it to, number 1, handle objections. You want it to, number 2, excite them for the call. And then last but not least, you want it to make them feel safe about actually hopping on a call, right? And we're going to talk a lot more about that in just a second. But let's go on to lesson number 8. The prospect makes a decision before the call. This is where you guys need to really understand. A lot of people think that, oh, they hop on the call and that's when they actually make a decision. But most prospects in today's day and age are sold before even hopping on a call, right? And what I've found that's happening a lot more is that people either buy or don't buy. They're either already sold and they're willing to literally buy anything as long as it's in their budget, or number 2, they're just not going to buy at all because they're just shopping around and they really don't trust you that much. So what I mean is that the prospects already made a decision before the call. Is that, what have they seen about you already? Do they trust you fully? Are you the first person that comes to mind when they think about fixing a specific issue? Have they talked to other people before? Right? Before a prospect hops gone, they've already made a decision. Everyone's offer is relatively the same when it comes to info products and fitness, or at least the closers are going to lie to make it, seem like a good offer for the prospect on the call. So now that you know that every offer is relatively the same and there's not a lot of way to differentiate yourself, the way that you could differentiate yourself is only by who you are, right? So that's why the prospect makes the decision before on the call. So your marketing has to be on point and it has to, present a certain image that is going to allow the sales process to be a lot easier or a lot better. Lesson number 9, 90% of your calls should be one call close. If calls take multiple times, they're probably just not going to close. Unless you're in the B2B space where it's a business, you're selling info to other business owners, 90% of your calls should all be one call close. And the reason for that is because people understand that with info, they're going to have to pay. It's not rocket science where, they don't know it's going to be a 4-figure ticket. Or if that's actually what's happening on your calls, people don't know that it's going to be a 4-figure ticket, then what that means is that you are kind of leading people astray. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you guys to tell them the exact price, but what you can do is tell them, like, hey, it's going to be a 4-figure investment, a high 4-figure, a 5-figure investment, a 6-figure investment, whatever the case may be. I always tell people what the investment range is going to be like. Never tell the price, but tell them what the range is, so that when a prospect actually hops on the call and you pitch them, they're not just absolutely shocked, right? Lesson number 9, lean over anything. What I mean by this is that if you're a coach, consultant, or course seller, you always want to be as lean as humanly possible. You want to be able to communicate with your setter, want to be able to communicate with your closer within like a phone call. Now, unless you have to get, massive and have a big team, go ahead and do it. But typically you want to be lean because communication is very key when it comes to sales. Last but not least is track your method. If you're not tracking your show up rate, your close rate, your average order value, your call notes, your fathoms, everything like that, those 4 or 5, like the ones that you must track is your cash collected, revenue generated, close rate, show up rate, pitched rate, like how many of them are actually qualified for you to pitch, Those are the ones that you should mandatory track. Everything else is excess if you'd like to track it, but please track your metrics so it allows you to scale predictably. Now let's get on to the um, two big parts of this YouTube video. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how to get an 85% show up rate. It's actually very, very simple, and it lies in this second pillar right there, right? But we're going to go through both of them. Number one is going to be teaching you guys how to get an 85% show up rate. And then number two is going to be teaching you guys how to get a 45% close rate. So the first thing when it comes to getting an 85% show up rate, guys, is that you have to give or find a reason for them to show up. A lot of people think that, hey, I'm just going to call the prospect and I'm going to, qualify them financially. And then I'm going to be like, yeah, your appointment is tomorrow or it's on Monday. Just show up to the call. That is not the case. You have to give them a reason to show up. You have to find some sort of pain that they're dealing with. Understand that from the prospect's point of view, if they go on, look for a new business opportunity, there's some sort of pain. Do they want to take care of their family? Do they want to have more money? Do they want more freedom? Do they want their time back? There's some sort of pain that they have. Now, you don't have to let them sit on the pain on the setting call because that's a closer's job. And if you guys both ask the same questions, it's just going to come off as very, very salesy. But you have to find some sort of pain, right? Like get them to understand that there's a reason why they need to show up. So if someone's in a biz ops space, I'll give you guys a quick example. If you're in the business opportunity space and let's just say a 21-year-old that's a construction worker calls you by signing up on the free training, you guys go ahead and call them and you're on the call. His pain point may more than likely be he wants to get out of the 9 to 5. And you have to find that pain and you have to like let him sit in it a little bit. Not too much, but you want to let him understand that he's not living the life that he wants to, and then him hopping on a call is going to get him a step closer. I hope that makes sense. If you guys want more in depth on that, click that first link below, book a call with me and we'll implement this in your business, or comment the question below and then I'll answer it for you. The second thing, or actually the third thing, is booking them within 24 hours. Now, this is, I would say 100% out of 100% of the time. Do not book a call more than 24 hours away, unless it is a webinar, then I allow 48 hours. But no more than 24 hours on any typical sales funnel or any DM setting or anything like that. The only where there is an exception is if it's a webinar funnel. The reason for that is because we found that if you book people more than, I think the gap is like 36 hours, more than 36 hours, their chances of showing up goes down by like 40%. And the reason for that is because they just simply forget about it. Now, the thing is that you still can do it because of this sales process that we have right here. But the reason why our show up rate is 85% plus, like genuinely, I would put this number at 90%, but I understand that not everyone can get these numbers, is because we remind the prospect not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, not 7 times, but 8 times about the call. 24 hours within the call comes in. So the first one is booking time. Whenever they book, they get an email and SMS about the call. They get 24 hours before, 12 hours before, 8 hours before, 2 hours before, 1 hour before, 15 minutes before, and then when it's time to actually join the call. Now, this automation is set up in Go High Level, and if you obviously want us to implement that, click that first calendar link below. But that right there is the biggest reason as to why our show up rate is this high. Now, before we set this up, our show up rate was, I would say, anywhere between like 65% in the B2C space. And then now, regardless on the offer, our show up rate is consistently 85% plus. And I will guarantee you that right now that this is the biggest thing that a lot of coaching programs do not have. A select few at the top do, but most do not. Now, the next thing is a close rate. How to get a 45% close rate. Now, I'll be completely honest, back to show rate. This is very, very easy. Like an 85% show up rate. We've been having this for 3 years, like 2 years now. Like it's very, very simple. And if you don't have that set up, then if you do set this up and you're still struggling with your show up rate, then that means it's either something with your marketing or your sales reps aren't doing their job properly. So now, how do I get a 45% close rate? Number one is you want your calls to be no longer than 40 minutes. And the reason why I say that is because this is the sales process that I teach every single one of our setters to have them have a close rate that's higher than 45%. It's very, very simple. Number one is, where is the prospect at now? What do they do for work? How much money do they have? Where are they doing with their life? What is their goals? Where are they trying to get at, right? And then the second thing is, where do they want to go? All right, let's just say the prospect is working at McDonald's and he hates his job. He's making $2,000 a month, right? Where does he want to go? Well, in 6 months down the line, he wants to be making 10K per month or whatever, right? And you have to ask questions to figure out where he wants to go. And then last but not least, why has he not gotten there yet? And this is very, very key because you have to figure out if he has limiting beliefs. And if he has limiting beliefs, you have to handle them on the questioning part, right? You have to find these limiting beliefs and handle them so that they don't show up when you actually go on ahead and pitch. Now, if you do these three things, you're gonna have what I call ammo, right? You're gonna figure out where he is, where he wants to go, why he hasn't gone there. When it comes down to pitching, if he happens to give you an objection, you just point the gun back at him and you shoot him with the ammo, right? Because you have so much information as to why he wants to do it. He'd be very stupid not to do it if financially he could do it. The second thing is pre-con material. Now, to go back to this, every single one of these SMS and email has pre-con material within it. Now, the pre-con material does three things. It handles objections, it excites them for the call, and then it makes them feel safe to actually hopping on the call. Now, I'm going to quickly go through every single one of these to kind of explain it to you. So, handle objections. Now, what I would do is very, very simple. Go ask AI, Manus, ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever you're using. Like, what are the top 5 common objections in my industry? And then you go ahead and solve them, right? And the way that you answer these is it's in small videos that are anywhere between 30 to a minute and a half long, handling the objection. So for example, let's just say you are in the e-com space and the big objection a lot of people have, what if it doesn't work out? You just handle the objection. Well, nothing is guaranteed, blah, blah, blah. But the reason why most people succeed is because we have X, Y, and Z system implemented inside of our material, right? Find your most 5 common objections and you create videos answering those objections, which is going to be on the pre-call page. So the way the pre-call page is actually going to look is it's going to be like a video up here that handles all 3 of these things like lightly. And then under it, objections, right? So let's draw 4, and then each on this is going to be like, what if I get scammed? What makes this different? Or how much capital do I need? And then the video is basically you just answering these objections. Hopefully that makes sense. I think it should make sense. If it doesn't make sense, just DM me on Instagram and I'll answer this for you. Next thing is exciting them for the call. Now, one thing that I do for almost all of my coaching programs, I say that we create a game plan for them, right? We're telling them, we're like, yeah, bro, we're creating this game plan for you and we're going to show you it on the call. Like that excites them. It gets their blood boiling because they're like, ooh, what is it? What's he going to show me? What is it? What is it? What is he going to show me, right? You want to excite them for the call. And that's one way to do it. And another way is by congratulating them for taking that first step and making them feel a little bit special that not many people take that first step. You know what I mean? So that's the second thing, exciting them for the call. Lastly is making it feel safe. Like I've said all throughout this video is that we're in a trust recession. People are no longer trusting as much as they need to. That's the reason why webinars are working very, very well right now. You need to make the prospect feel safe. And the best way to make someone feel safe is to be honest with them, like what's going to happen on the call. So an example would be, so on that call, we're basically just going to figure out where you currently are right now. Where do you want to go? And like, why have you not gone there? And if we could figure that out, we're going to obviously show you how we can help you and how we think our solution can help you get to where you want to go. And if it does, then obviously you pay. If it doesn't, then you just hop off the call. Or if you need more time to think about it, then you take some time to think about it. Basically just like that, handling those objections and really just making them feel safe and honest. The next thing is understanding where they are in the sales cycle. Now, guys, if you haven't watched this video, go ahead and watch this video. This is a video that I created this is my last video. If someone's on a webinar, they don't need a lot of information to make a call because they just hopped off an hour and a half call with the creator. If someone's done like a VSL funnel, they need a little bit more than a webinar. If someone comes from paid ads, they need a lot of information. So you have to understand what funnel you're running and how much information a prospect actually typically needs before making a decision. If they need a lot more information, then this pre-call material needs to be a little bit longer, or you're gonna have to sell emails simultaneously that nurtures the prospect. Lastly is FAQ questions. Now, a section that we have not on the pre-call material, but this is on the post-booking material. After they book a call, it's FAQ questions. Now, these FAQ questions are basically things like, when should I expect a call? What if this is a scam? Is this just a course material? Am I actually getting access to a creator? Just a basic FAQ question that a prospect will probably have before, taking that next step. That makes it feel a lot safer to actually, going on ahead and buying the coaching program, guys. So that's going to do it for the video. If you're a coach, consultant, or course seller that wants my help into implementing any one of these into your business, there's a link below that's going to take you to a Typeform where if you qualify, you're going to be able to book a call. Other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.